Welcome to Keiser Voices, the story of success, brought to you by Keiser University Graduate School, here where the academic world meets personal triumph. Join us today as we dive into the captivating tales of success.
Welcome back, everybody, to another episode of Keiser Voices. This month and all of June, we are sharing our stories from our alumni. We're so excited for the opportunity to take a minute and learn about the day-to-day and what they've learned since graduating from Keiser University. And joining us today is Dr. Dina Roshdy, and she is a graduate from our PhD in Industrial and Organizational Psychology, and she's connecting with us all the way from Dubai. Dr. D, thank you for joining us.
Oh, thank you for inviting me. It's a pleasure to be here.
We really want to hear about those lessons learned on your path to your professional growth, but there's a couple of questions I want to ask you before we really get into our topic, if you don't mind. What was it about this program, the PhD in Industrial and Organizational Psychology and Keiser, that made you choose this path? Like, were you looking for something specific, and that's what led you to this program, or did you find the program in your journey for professional growth?
Yeah, so being in human resources all my career, almost 20 years in human resources, with a master's degree already, I always wanted to complement the experience with a PhD. And I think that the PhD in Industrial Organizational Psychology is the most relevant to what I do. And so when I did my research on this specific program, I think that Keiser University was the one that matched most with my requirements. So that's why it was a perfect match, I would say. And I think it's safe to say that the decision was spot on. It was a great experience.
And you did your program from a world away. We were kind of talking about this before we started the programming. You currently live and reside in Dubai, and throughout your program, you were in Dubai, so you were a world away from us, so to speak.
Correct. I think sometimes 8 hours, sometimes 9 hours. Sometimes you guys changed the time. So yes, it was a big difference. At some point it was challenging, but I managed. I think at the end of the day, having the recorded sessions, the classes, and the availability of the professors whenever I have questions or concerns or doubts, for me it was very smooth.
Looking ahead now to life after Keiser, you graduated, now you have your PhD, you're already a professional in your industry. Are there any lessons early on in your career that helped shape your approach with this professional growth that you've seen today?
Yeah, I think one of the most important lessons that I have learned very early in my career, especially being a very ambitious and self-driven person, is that professional growth never really stops. I realized that the more you learn, the more you realize how much you still don't know. So that mindset stayed with me throughout the entire journey. And as a matter of fact, my bachelor's was a completely different major. I studied mass communication, like broadcasting and TV production and stuff. And today I'm leading an HR function in a regional company overseeing multiple countries. So this transition did not happen because of one degree or one opportunity. It happened because I kept investing in myself continuously through experience and certifications and learnings and staying curious. So I also realized that if you become too comfortable, your career can become very static. I've seen very talented people staying in the same place for many years simply because they just stopped learning or adapting. So for me, growth always came from being willing to stretch beyond what I already knew. Every step in my career required learning something new. So that was mainly what shaped my journey of growth.
What challenges or setbacks have you experienced that you really contribute to like that learning moment to propel you forward?
Being a woman, um, I mean, especially in some cultures that are more male dominant. Uh, but I think a lot of women would actually agree to this, especially at senior levels. Women often feel the need that they need to exert double the effort to prove
Hmm.
themselves and their capabilities and their credibility. And so for me, that became a source of motivation rather than being frustrated. So every time there was a doubt, whether spoken or unspoken, it pushed me to learn more and deliver stronger results. And my mindset shifted to, you think I cannot do this? Let me show you that I can. So over time, I realized that the confidence comes from your competence. The more knowledge and the more exposure and the more experience you gain, the more comfortable you become owning your place in the room and contributing with confidence.
When we talk strategies, I mean, you've mentioned like the continuous learning, and I think personally, I don't think that even it should be a professional goal for anybody. That should be a personal goal for everybody, the pursuit of knowledge, whether it is formal education or, learning something on your own, something outside of your comfort zone. But what strategies have you found most effective in this continuance to grow and to learn in your field?
Don't get comfortable. The second you become comfortable, it's probably time to make a change. There was actually a point in my career where I was extremely comfortable. I was a director, a multinational company, overseeing different countries. I was performing very well. I had the stability, I had recognition, and I could have easily stayed there for several more years. And this is exactly the point that I realized that something doesn't seem right. I was like, okay, what's next? I mean, something doesn't make sense. I'm too comfortable. Something needs to happen. And this is exactly when I decided to pursue the PhD.
Mhm.
Um, I didn't want to wait until I am forced to evolve. So I took the initiative to learn more because I always felt that there was still more I could learn and achieve and contribute. So even though a lot of people were supportive, but also many others thought, why would you put yourself through such a challenging or difficult journey when you are already very
Mhm.
successful? But for me, I always said growth starts when comfort ends. So if you stay attached only to what feels safe or familiar, eventually you will fall behind because the world around you keeps evolving and keeps changing. And so you need to evolve as well.
I don't know if anybody's ever said that before, but I'm adding you to my email signature. Growth starts where comfort ends. And it's going to
Oh
be
no.
dash Dr. D because that is I mean, that's a true statement. You gotta push yourself,
True.
you gotta challenge yourself, no matter how scary it is. So I love that. Like I'm gonna like when we get off this call, it's being added to my signature because that is a fantastic sentiment to share. Did you have any mentors or guidance that was very significant, maybe in your career or even your program journey, to really help also support you? I know you said a lot of it was you taking yourself out of your comfort zone, knowing that you needed to take that next step. But for those that supported you, did you have a mentor along the way?
To be honest, I cannot really say that I had one specific person who was mentoring me throughout the journey or throughout my career, but I had a support system, a whole system behind me. Those who were very encouraging, whether from my personal network or professional network. Those who were encouraging, those who were as simple as asking, how is it going? How are you? How are you keeping up? And what's your assignment about? Or at what stage are you at right now? And what's next? So those little moments of support from those around you made a huge difference. I wouldn't say that there was one specific person, but I would say that my experience and my development came from a combination of experiences and exposure and learning from different people throughout my career. Because I worked with a lot of different leaders, leadership styles, and different organizational cultures. And every experience taught me something. Some of them were positive experiences, some of them were challenging, but I still learned a lot. But of course, having said that, I truly value all the supportive people and all the supportive leaders who create opportunities and who trust in the potential of their teams and encourage growth of their teams, because even the small moments of support, they make huge difference in people's lives.
That's amazing. I have my final question for you. I really would love two answers for. So I want to get a little complicated with you. I'd really like to know your answer as Dr. Dina, but I'd also like to hear your answer as a human resources director of a multinational company, because I think your answers might align, but still be a little bit different. When we take a look at mindsets and habits that help you to keep advancing professionally, what would you share with, your, a letter to your future self, or someone who is looking to advance professionally, coming from an HR director? What tips or habits can you provide to us to share with our community?
As you said, being an HR professional and being a PhD holder, I think my answers would be very, very close to each other. But let me start with the HR part, with being a head of HR. What we basically look at when it comes to when we're recruiting or when we're interviewing or evaluating someone's profile, it's not about the technical competencies of the person, because those can be learned easily. It's about the attitude, it's about the behaviors, it's about the potential. So when we see high potential in someone, when we see someone who is very keen to learn, someone who's very keen to grow, someone who wants to do something, who wants to make a change, we are very attracted to this kind of profile. And we are very much willing to invest in this profile to gain the technical competencies if there is a need. Now, the other side is if someone has a great, like has a PhD, actually. Let's say someone has a PhD and comes up to us and applies for a position, but doesn't seem like this person wants to do more than what they have already done. And they think that they have reached the maximum that they could possibly reach. And they have reached the finish line, and you know what? This is what it is. This is not what we're looking for. We're always looking for those who have the humility to keep learning, to be open to learning and continuous evolving, because the world around us is changing every day. So we need everyone to change with that as well. So that's from a human resources perspective. The attitude matters more than the credentials, the academic credentials. Now, someone who has just completed the PhD, it is such a great personal satisfaction that you feel when you reach this level, because this is the highest academic degree that you could possibly get, right? Yeah, like
Right.
I'm comparing myself with Einstein now. He has a PhD and I have a PhD. So personally, it feels very, very satisfying. And it gives you a lot of confidence in your profile. But don't think that this is enough. Don't think that this alone will get you where you want to be. I finished and I completed my research, but I'm not stopping there. There is still more. I'm going to build on my research. I'm going to build on that framework that I have established in my dissertation. I'm going to publish that in a journal. I want to share my results with the whole world, because I know that for a lot of organizations, my project is going to make huge impact in talent attraction and retention. So my answers with both hats, I think, are quite aligned. But yeah, that's what I have to say about it.
No, that's amazing. And we really appreciate you taking the time and connecting with us to share on your experiences and your professional advice for our audience and current students and recent graduates who are looking to see the kind of success that you have seen. So thank you so much, Dr. Dina, for joining us.
Thank you so much, Heather, for inviting me for this opportunity. It means a lot. I really like to share my experience with other people, and I was very happy to be here today. It was so much fun, and I think this is the first podcast for me, so I
Oh,
enjoyed it
yay.
very much. Thank you for that.
Awesome. And if you guys have enjoyed today's conversation, be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow, and continue to tune in as we highlight some of our graduate stories.
Thank you for journeying with us today on Keiser Voices, the story of success. As we close this chapter, remember, every story has its next page.